All right, week 2 post ACL surgery is in the books, so let's dive right into my updates. First things first, pain-wise, much less severe throughout week 2. Still present for sure, but not nearly as intense, so that was nice. I was off opiates altogether. I got off them I think after 5 or 6 days, and throughout week 2 I was just on acetaminophen and I was taking it as needed. So that was nice to be able to wean off that and to not be in as much pain. I actually had a more difficult time sleeping throughout week 2 than I did week 1, but I think that's A, because I wasn't on as many painkillers, and B, because I was less willing to sleep on my back, and I would try to go on my side and move around and stuff, and it just put my knee in weird positions, so it was a little bit more painful, a little bit more uncomfortable, but I don't think that'll be everyone's experience. It was just mine. So yeah, sleeping was a little bit more difficult throughout the second week. But I wouldn't trade that for how I felt the first week, so that's okay. Psychologically, it was also pretty similar to week 1. There are some days where you feel really optimistic and good about your progress, and then other days where you just feel down over the fact that you can't move or you can't do chores you want to do, and you just, yeah, you dwell on certain setbacks and get in a bad mind space. So I think that's to be expected, and again, for me, it's just about having a good perspective, understanding that it's going to be a long journey, and all you can do is do what's in front of you on that day and try to be a little bit better. So yeah, that's the mindset I try to have. What else is there to update on? Oh, my mobility. So throughout week 2, I was still 2 crutching for much of it. When I felt good, I would move to 1 crutch, but it didn't really last too long. I found my battery life of my leg is very low, so towards the end of the day especially, I would notice that it would sort of swell up, get very stiff, and I was back to being on 2 crutches. Even sometimes it would feel so bad that I wouldn't do any weight bearing. I would just crutch around the house. But usually that was towards the end of the day. It seemed to progressively get more sore throughout the day, which makes a lot of sense. But in the morning I would do my exercises, and for the first half of the day I felt like I could walk around on 1 crutch, which was nice because I had a free hand. And then every once in a while I would dabble in some no crutch action. That would not last long. That's for like 10 feet, and it's only because I'm allowed to, because I didn't have my meniscus repaired, so I would give it a shot. But I won't be walking comfortably without crutches for a little bit of time. My goal is by the 1 month mark to be able to walk with no crutches, and I think I'll be there. I'm filming this after week 2, and I have a lot of new updates and a lot of progress that's happened throughout the 3rd week. So I won't go into those now, but I will make a 1 month video where I talk about week 3 and 4. So yeah, I filmed some exercises I did at physiotherapy, and these were recorded at the 10-day mark, so I'll play those next. And then I also have a clip of my stitches out of my incisions, so you'll see what my cuts look like right now. So yeah, we'll go into that now. Alrighty, so first things first, I've been promoted to 1 crutch. Not something I'm able to sustain all day long, but when my leg feels good, I do try to 1 crutch it just to encourage some weight bearing and some extra motion in my bad leg. Make sure that your crutch is on the opposite side. So bad leg, crutch. So when I take a step simultaneously with my bad leg as well as the crutch. That way I can distribute the weight bearing according to where I'm at. So for me, it's like 50% crutch, 30% leg. So I'll show you what that looks like. Not too bad for day 10. Alright, so I'm sort of running out of real estate here, but you should be able to see my legs. First exercise I'm going to show you is just hip abduction. I'm not going to do all my reps because I already did my session for this afternoon. So those just look like this. Trying to keep your legs straight, you're just raising it straight up to the side. That's to activate your TFL, your glute med, and your glute min. The idea is to strengthen your hip to help support your knee. Next exercise, I'm sure you guys have seen, is just straight leg raises. So you'll try to keep your leg as straight as possible, which is still difficult for me. And then he has me actually holding at the top, and that makes it extra hard. But the idea here is you're activating your rectus femoris, which is one of your quadricep muscles. It's the only one that completes hip flexion, so that's why it's active during that motion, whereas the other quadriceps strictly do knee extension. All right, and the final exercise is just basic glute contractions. So I'm just coming onto my back, and I'm just gonna squeeze my butt. And it's the same principle, strengthening your hip to help support your knee. And I'm doing 15 reps of each exercise 3 times a day, or 2 if I'm not feeling up to 3, depending on how I am. All right, so here's my knee with my stitches out and my bandages off. I had to leave my bandages on and not get them wet for a couple days after getting the stitches out, which was depressing when I heard that, but finally, stitches out, bandages off, and I can shower. It's fantastic. Anyway, I just wanted to show you what the incisions look like. You got the 4 incisions to enter the joint space. If my camera focuses a little bit here. Maybe not. There we go. And then the incision at the distal portion of the gracilis and semitendinosus, where they took those tendons to make my ACL. As you can see, it literally looks like I fell on a playground and scraped my knee. Like it's remarkable how well it's healing, first of all, but also it's obviously a tribute to the surgeon for doing a really clean job. Like this incision was literally 1 stitch. This one was 2 stitches. 2 stitches, 1 stitch, and this is 5. And I mean, like, these are deep incisions to go into the joint space, and again, they look like scratches at this point. It's only 2 weeks post-surgery, so they did a really, really clean job making the incisions and stitching them up, and so definitely grateful for that. I'm not concerned about having scars, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's very minimal scarring here, so pretty cool what they can do with just little incisions, so they can replace your ACL. So yeah, that's what it looks like right now. All right, there you have it. For those of you who care, at the 2-week point, my range of motion inflection, I would get to about 90 degrees. My physiotherapist told me not to go past that because it was so early. You don't want to put too much flexion because that could create too much tension on the ACL and potentially damage it. So I'm capped at 90 degrees until week 4. Again, that's just his advice. I don't know, maybe he's wrong, maybe different physiotherapists have different opinions. That's just what my guy told me, so I'm following that. My extension is still not lockout. Again, for me, that's my biggest deficit, so I know it's going to be quite a while before I can retrain my knee to not guard in a flexed position, because again, it's been in that state for 4 months since I injured it, so I am working very hard at making it lockout into extension. So I'm confident I'll get there one day, but I know for me it's going to be a while, so yeah. That's something to look forward to, something to work at every day. And yeah, there's 2-week update. Again, I'll make a video once the 1 month mark is up. And again, I'm filming this just before week 3 is done. So lots of new updates already, and I look forward to sharing them once 1 month comes by. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and we'll talk soon.